Hello everyone. We are excited to restart YuktMind's unique initiative of 10 minutes and newspaper done. In this video, we'll be thoroughly covering March 4th's The Hindu newspaper from both prelims and mains point of view of UPSC CSC. You can download the PDF of this discussion from our Telegram channel, the link of which is given in description below. Let us start. So in this video, we'll be covering 7 news. Starting with core loading of nuclear reactor in Tamil Nadu, GI tags for certain new products, reform in India's political party system, a case for Women's Urban Employment Guarantee Act, relevance of university rankings, news on Apple's PQ through protocol, and last news on plastics in Himalayan states. Starting with the first news, PM to witness launch of core loading of reactor in Tamil Nadu. PM will witness the initiation of the core loading of India's indigenous 500 megawatts electric prototype fast breeder reactor, that is PFBR in the short, in the nuclear complex at Kalpakkam, about 70 kilometers south of Chennai. PFBR marks the second stage of three-stage nuclear power program of the country with a closed fuel cycle, and the spent fuel from the first stage would be reprocessed and used as fuel in the FBR. A unique feature of this sodium-cooled PFBR is that it can produce more fuel than it can consume, thus helping in achieving self-reliance in fuel supply for future fast reactors. With minimized nuclear waste generated from the reactor and advanced safety features, the FBRs would provide a safe, efficient, and clean source of energy and contribute to the goal of net zero. Moving on to the second news. The famous Katak Rupa Tarkasi, that is silver filigree, has been given the geographical indication tag. Filigree has been traditionally associated with fine craftsmanship and luxurious design in classical jewelry. Archaeological evidence suggests that filigree was incorporated into jewelry as early as 3500 BCE in Mesopotamia, where it is practiced even today as telkari work. According to historians, there is every possibility that Tarkashi work reached Katak from Persia through Indonesia some 500 years ago by sea trade. The argument is based on similar workmanship seen in both Katak and Indonesia. The other products to join the GI League are Bengalar muslin, one of the popular traditional handloom crafts of Bengal, Narasapur crochet lace products, and Kutch Rogan craft. Ratlam Riyawan Lehsun, a variety named after Riyawan village in Ratlam district of Madhya Pradesh, also bagged the GI tag along with Ambaji white marble, which is formed when limestone is recrystallized under the earth's crust due to intense pressure and heat. Tripura Risa textile, Hyderabad lac bangles, Majuli mask of Assam, and the Assam Majuli manuscript painting are other products that got GI tag. The Majuli mask of Assam is made in different varieties such as Mukha Bohana, Lotokoi hanging mask, and Chomukha. You can see the pictures of Tarkashi and Kutch Rogan craft, as well as picture of Narasapur crochet lace products and Majuli mask of Assam. The third news. The long road to reforming India's political party system. Background. With the general election of 2024 inching closer, there has been a spate of political defections across the country. The issue, however, has been a recent adjudicatory development raises doubt on the perceived need and utility of India's anti-defection law. On February 15th of 2024, the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly Speaker delivered his verdict on the split in 2023 within the Nationalist Congress Party, that is NCP. No MLA from either faction of the NCP was disqualified, and the Ajit Pawar faction was recognized as being the real NCP. So there have been transgressions that are passing muster. Relying on the test of legislative majority, the Speaker noted that the Ajit Pawar-led faction of the NCP had the support of 41 out of 53 NCP MLAs, making it the real NCP. More intriguing was the Speaker's observations on the applicability of the anti-defection law to these proceedings. What transpired between June 30th and July 2nd of 2023, when the NCP split vertically, is termed as an expression of intra-party dissent. In simple terms, the Speaker has said that such intra-party dissent cannot be subject to the punitive provisions of the 10th schedule and the dissenting MLAs cannot be disqualified from the Assembly. However, under the anti-defection law, a faction that splits from its original party cannot claim exemption from disqualification on its own, given that the split exception was deleted from the 10th schedule in 2003. The only exemption available now to legislators moving in groups is that of mergers, which mandatorily require a minimum of two-thirds members to separate from their political party and merge with another. So what can be done? The 255th report of the Law Commission of India proposed amendments to the Representation of People Act of 1951, which could mandate that besides having a constitution, political parties elect an executive committee for the party, select candidates who are to contest elections to parliament or state assemblies, and conduct regular elections within the party at every level. The Law Commission also proposed granting the Election Commission of India the powers to impose monetary penalties or withdraw the registration of a political party in case it failed to comply. The Law Commission's recommendations, however, have yet to see the light of the day. Moving on to the fourth news, a Women's Urban Employment Guarantee Act. Reducing gender gaps and increasing women's empowerment are part of Sustainable Development Goals. The unmet demand. The Manrega has been pivotal in providing financial autonomy to women in rural areas. More than half the Manrega workforce are women. However, urban realities are different. Social norms, lack of safety, and hostile transportation options are some of the factors inhibiting urban women to enter the workforce. The periodic labor force survey pegged women's employment rate in urban areas at 22.9% in the last quarter of 2023. The unemployment rate in urban areas, which is a measure of how many would like employment, is 9% compared to 4% in rural areas. Nearly 25% of urban women have completed higher secondary education compared to 5% in rural areas. The low urban employment rates among women also points to wastage of much potential. Suggestion of WOEGA. Building on ideas such as Decentralized Urban Employment and Training Scheme by Zeem Riaz and National Women's Urban Employment Guarantee Act, that is WOEGA, may be proposed. Involving women and local communities can also potentially strengthen the constitutional mandate of decentralization. Each worksite would have essential worksite facilities including childcare facilities. Work must be available within a 5-kilometer radius and public transportation must be free for women. Apprenticeships for women college students from different disciplines could be done. This could become a channel for women with higher degrees to join as program functionaries. A social audit unit of WOEGA with at least 50% women staff can be conceived for independent monitoring of the program. There is precedence for such initiatives. In Karnataka, for instance, women handle end-to-end waste management in Gram Panchayats of selected districts, including collection and driving of the Swachh vehicles. Not only has the initiative been a success, it has also enabled several women to acquire driving licenses. Moving on to the fifth news. Since the first appearance of global university ranking systems around 2 decades ago, rankings have come to dominate the attention in higher education ecosystems around the world. Today, many countries including China, Japan and Russia have committed substantial resources to elevate the statuses of their universities to world class as defined by these rankings, allowing them some considerable political heft as well. Of late, however, some universities worldwide have pulled out of being ranked over concerns about the incentives the system set up and their compatibility with the university's own aspirations. The debate has brought out two crucial aspects pertaining to the conduct of the companies behind some of the ranking systems. They are conflict of interest and data rights. So what do ranking systems do? A ranking system orders the higher education institutes in a place by their accomplishments on various fronts such as including teaching, research, reputation, industry-focused research and collaborative efforts. So the moot question is, are ranking systems perfect? In 2021, Elizabeth Gadd, a researcher from UK, published a critique in which she reported that universities' quest for higher ranking mirrors the flawed pursuit of gross domestic product, that is GDP, as the sole measure of a country's prosperity. For example, in their 2010 book, Mismeasuring Our Lives, Why GDP Doesn't Add Up, eminent economists Joseph Stiglitz, Amartya Sen and Jean-Paul Fitoussi contended that the use of a single indicator to capture the economic and social progress of a country will inevitably overlook the environmental impact of its growth and measures of its inequality, among other crucial issues. According to Dr. Gadd, university rankings like GDP distills complex roles that universities play in society into a single unidimensional score. Experts have noticed that the highest ranked universities in various ranking systems are old, large, wealthy, research intensive, science focused, English speaking, and in the global north. So, what are the concerns over conflict of interest? Most entities that compile and publish rankings are private enterprises, and there have been instances of these entities consulting with universities to help the latter achieve better ranks in their own systems. Since these problems started to become more apparent, several prominent institutions have denounced traditional ranking systems such as Harvard and Yale universities, and several IITs of India have boycotted the same rankings. So, what about data security? Like conflict of interest, another issue deserves similar examination. By participating in ranking exercises, universities and institutes provide ranking agencies free rein over their data, compromising their data security. Sixth news. On February 21st, Apple announced PQ3, a post-quantum cryptography protocol to encrypt conversations in iMessage. The company called it the first messaging protocol to reach level 3 security and claimed it can defend highly sophisticated quantum attacks. What does the new amendment state? Currently, most messaging apps have standard encryption methods which use public and private keys to securely deliver messages. There are two encryption methods. The first is, in the public key encryption method, a user's message is encrypted by the public key before transmission, and then the private key is used to decrypt messages. In the second private key method, while both keys are required, they are basically the same, and both the sender and the recipient are allowed to encrypt or decrypt the message. However, Apple's PQ3 protocol uses a hybrid design combining traditional encryption methods with post-quantum encryption both during the initial key establishment between devices and during rekeying, which essentially rechecks the cryptographic keys between devices to ensure continued protection. So why is Apple shifting to PQ3 protocol? Currently, Apple's iMessage supports end-to-end encryption by default. This mode of protection relies on mathematical problems that could potentially be solved by powerful quantum computers. However, current cryptographic problems can be solved by quantum computers, though such computers are still in the works. Apple says though attackers may not be able to decrypt this data today, they can retain it until it can be decrypted at a later date by making use of a quantum computer. So what are PQ3's strengths and limitations? The PQ3 protocol protects communications on iMessage against current and future decryptions. It also limits how many past and future messages can be decrypted with a single compromised key, reducing the impact of key compromises. But despite its enhanced protection, the PQ3 protocol, because of its intended application scenario, does not address group messaging, authentication against quantum adversaries, or cryptographic deniability. Also, messages stored in iCloud may not be protected by this protocol. Now the final news of the day. Mountains of plastics are choking the Himalayan states. Microplastic deposition and accumulation has been found in the Himalayan mountains, rivers, lakes and streams. These microplastics can be trapped in glaciers for a long time and released into rivers during snow melting. The Indian Himalayan region is a critical source of water in the subcontinent, feeding a number of major rivers of India that include the Indus, Ganges and Brahmaputra river systems. Unscientific plastic disposal is causing soil and water pollution in the Indian Himalayan region and impacting its biodiversity, which is having an adverse impact on the freshwater resources that communities downstream depend on. Rapid and unplanned urbanization and changing production and consumption patterns are also responsible for the plastic waste crisis in the Indian Himalayan region. Every year, there is a day when the amount of plastic waste surpasses the capability of waste management systems to manage this. Environment Action, a Swiss-based organization, calls it Plastic Overshoot Day. In 2023, India reached its Plastic Overshoot Day on January 6th. India has one of the highest mismanaged waste index at 98.55% in the world after Kenya, Nigeria and Mozambique, which is the gap in waste management capacity and plastic consumption. According to Center for Science and Environment, India is merely recycling 12% of its plastic waste. Solid Waste Management Rules, in short SWM 2016, Plastic Waste Management Rules, that is PWM 2016, and Extended Producer Responsibility, that is EPR 2022, constitute the regulatory framework for plastic waste management for India. Special needs of the hill areas are recognized by SWM but are not factored in while creating a mandate for both local bodies and producers, importers and brand owners, that is PIBOs, while PWM and EPR have not even recognized the special needs of the hills. The collective mandate of SWM, PWM, EPR requires waste segregation at source. Segregation of not only plastic from other waste but also different types of plastics is a prerequisite for any strategy to dispose of plastic waste in a scientific and sustainable manner. Under the SWM, PWM and EPR, the task of waste management from collection to its scientific disposal is the duty of local bodies. They can take help from PBIOs, that is brand owners, for setting up and operationalization of the plastic waste management system as mandated under the EPR. The local bodies are the pivot of the waste management system in the country. A commensurate devolution of power to them is still work in progress. So what is required? Empowering local bodies and creating the necessary infrastructure for waste management need immediate attention. Segregation of waste and participation of the people in this endeavor with the help of sustained public education programs is a must. The value of the EPR certificate, which is earned by a PIBO in the Indian Himalayan region, could be higher than one earned in the rest of the country for every ton of plastic waste processed. Data gaps in the terms of quantum and quality of waste being generated in the Indian Himalayan region states should be plugged. Convergence in existing schemes such as SBM, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is MNREGA, and the Finance Commission's grants could be used to create the infrastructure, maintain and run operations. The Swachh Bharat Kosh Trust, set up to facilitate the channelization of philanthropic contributions and corporate social responsibility funds towards this cause, could also be used to augment resources. The Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, that is AMRUT, and Smart Cities scheme, under which many cities in the Indian Himalayan region are selected, could also work in convergence on the issue of scientific waste management and making cities in the Indian Himalayan region free of plastic. Now we come to a past year UPSC CSC prelims question. At the national level, which ministry is the nodal agency to ensure effective implementation of the ST and other traditional forest dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2026? This was asked in the year 2021. The correct answer is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Thank you for watching this video. You can download the PDF of this discussion from our Telegram channel, the link of which is given in the description below. Thank you.